What happens to fake friends when you become successful? Why do some people seem supportive while you're struggling, but become strangely distant once your life begins to improve? Why does success sometimes create tension where there was once friendship? And why do certain people who laughed with you, encouraged you, and stood beside you suddenly become cold, sarcastic, or absent when you begin to grow? If this has ever happened to you, you are not imagining things, and you're certainly not alone. This is one of the most uncomfortable realities of human relationships, and philosophers like Friedrich Nietzsche understood something about it long before social media, status symbols, or modern ideas of success existed. Today, we're going to explore the psychology behind fake friendships, hidden jealousy, emotional loyalty, and why success often reveals truths that struggle keeps hidden. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may completely change the way you understand the people around you. Nietzsche believed that human relationships are not always built purely on love, loyalty, or kindness. Beneath the surface, many relationships contain invisible dynamics involving status, identity, comfort, and emotional balance. This does not mean friendship is fake by default, but it does mean that some friendships survive only under certain conditions, and one of those conditions is equality. As long as two people feel emotionally or socially equal, the relationship often feels safe and stable. There is no pressure, no comparison, and no discomfort. But success changes something fundamental. It shifts the balance. And the moment balance shifts, the relationship enters a test that many people never anticipated. This is where the first uncomfortable truth appears. Success does not automatically create jealousy, but it often exposes insecurities that were already there. Most people think fake friends dislike success because they hate seeing others happy. But the truth is usually more psychological than malicious. Your success can become a mirror, and mirrors are uncomfortable because they reflect not only who we are, but sometimes who we fear we failed to become. When someone sees you becoming more disciplined, more independent, more financially secure, or more confident, they are sometimes forced into an internal comparison they never wanted to have. Suddenly, your growth reminds them of abandoned goals, postponed ambitions, or difficult truths about their own lives. And not everyone responds to that feeling with maturity. Nietzsche spoke often about the human desire for power, not necessarily domination over others, but the deep need to feel capable, significant, and in control of one's own life. When that feeling becomes threatened, tension appears. This tension rarely announces itself openly. Very few people say, "I envy you." Instead, envy becomes subtle. It hides behind humor. It disguises itself as criticism. It appears in passive comments, emotional distance, or strange changes in behavior. Perhaps you've experienced this yourself. A friend who once encouraged you suddenly becomes dismissive. Someone who used to celebrate your plans now questions your decisions. Conversations feel colder, support becomes harder to find. And what confuses you most is that you never changed your loyalty toward them. So what happened? Sometimes the answer is painful. Some people are attached not to your happiness, but to the version of you they became comfortable with. This is one of the hardest realities to accept. People do not always fall in love with who we truly are. Sometimes they grow attached to the role we play in their emotional world. Perhaps you were the struggling friend, the available friend, the friend who needed advice, validation, or support. That version of you felt familiar and emotionally safe. But success changes identity. You become more selective with your time, more aware of your value, more protective of your energy. You begin making decisions independently instead of seeking permission or approval. And for some relationships, this shift feels threatening. Not because success is immoral, but because it quietly removes old power dynamics. Nietzsche understood that many people resist not change itself, but the loss of the emotional position they once held. This explains why fake friendships often become unstable during periods of growth. What looked like friendship may have partially depended on comfort, comparison, or emotional hierarchy. And when hierarchy disappears, discomfort enters. This leads us to another truth that few people want to admit. Sometimes success awakens silent jealousy. Jealousy is not always loud or dramatic. In fact, the most dangerous jealousy is often quiet. It does not scream hatred, it slowly withdraws affection. It begins to minimize your achievements or reinterpret them as luck. Maybe you've heard phrases like, "You got lucky," "You've changed," "You think you're better now." At first, these comments sound harmless, but psychologically, they can reveal something deeper. They are often attempts to restore emotional balance. If your success creates discomfort, lowering your success can temporarily reduce that discomfort. Nietzsche described a psychological state called resentment, a hidden resentment that develops when people feel powerless yet unwilling to confront that feeling directly. Instead of elevating themselves, they unconsciously seek relief by diminishing what disturbs them. This does not make people evil, but it does make human nature complicated. And this explains something painful that many successful people eventually discover. The people who witnessed your struggle are not always the same people who celebrate your success. Failure often attracts sympathy because it feels safe. There is little comparison involved. But success creates revelation. It reveals who genuinely wants your growth and who only felt comfortable beside your limitations. Now, an important clarification must be made. Not every friendship that changes was fake. Life evolves. Priorities shift. Distance can happen naturally and respectfully. This video is not about becoming paranoid or assuming envy everywhere. That mindset creates bitterness, and bitterness destroys peace. The lesson is more subtle. Pay attention to patterns. Observe who becomes uncomfortable when your life improves. Notice who only appears during crisis but disappears during progress. Notice who celebrates your victories without turning them into comparisons about themselves. Because genuine friendship has a different emotional quality. Real friends do not experience your growth as their defeat. They do not compete with your happiness. They do not secretly hope you remain small so they can feel secure. Instead, they feel inspired by your progress because your success does not threaten their identity. And this brings us to Nietzsche's deeper lesson. Should you hide your success to preserve relationships? Should you make yourself smaller so others remain comfortable? No. That path eventually destroys self-respect. Nietzsche believed that becoming who you truly are requires courage. And courage often carries loneliness, not because growth is wrong, but because authenticity reveals reality. The painful truth is that some relationships survive only while you remain unchanged, and when growth exposes this, it hurts. But it also liberates, because losing false loyalty creates space for genuine connection. So what happens to fake friends when you become successful? Some disappear, some criticize, some become strangely distant, some continue smiling while quietly resenting your progress. But a few reveal something extraordinary: real loyalty. Because true friendship does not depend on your weakness, your dependence, or your limitations. It survives growth, it survives success, and it survives change. This may be the final truth that nobody wants to hear. Success does not ruin friendships, it reveals their foundation. So if you've lost people while building your life, remember this: not everyone who walks beside you is meant to walk with you forever. And sometimes growth is not only about gaining money, status, or achievement. Sometimes growth is about discovering who genuinely belongs in your life. If this video resonated with you, subscribe for more insights into human psychology, philosophy, emotional intelligence, and the invisible forces that shape our relationships. Because understanding people is not about becoming cynical, it's about finally seeing clearly.